It is played everywhere, from the LAN cafes of Malaysia to the basements of North America, by wizards in their ivory towers in Europe to barefooted boys on the beaches of Brazil. It is played by teenage boys to old men, by muscle-laden hulks to mere twigs, even a few women. Played by pathetic heralds to millionaire professionals, it is an intense game where every button press will be scrutinized viciously by a man you do not know in a language you do not understand. But Dota didn't start in any of these places, and it wasn't started by any of these people. It started here, long ago, in this primordial swamp, in the deep south of what would become America, and it was created by this frog, known to his friends, though he had few, as Ice Frog. Invited to few of the frog choruses, and with nothing to do but watch from the outskirts, Ice Frog had an idea that would give millions of nerds not invited to parties something to do. That idea was Dota. It wouldn't be long before this nugget of an idea was turned into gold. Walking the streets of industrial Seattle, well-heeled businessman Gabe Newell stumbled across some street urchins gathered around contraptions made out of copper, dead rodents, and kerosene lamps. Upon noticing the icy frogs coordinating this lark, Gaben captured him in a net and brought him to his factory. From there, following the direction of Ice Frog's croaks, Gaben built his first version of Dota 2 and enlisted some orphans to play in the first teams to test the game. Third generation Dota player, Pai Lai Dai, remembers.
My great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was one of the original orphans enlisted by Gaben. He played position 6 for Analog Chaos for over 50 years. Back in those days there were 6 positions, 1 to 5 as there are now, but there was also a 6th guy who was shoveling coal to make the PCs run. It took a lot of skill and coordination. Too little coal, the computers wouldn't run. Too much, and the game coordinator would crash. And he was damn close to qualifying for that LAN before his back gave in.
The first Dota team wouldn't last long after the team owner, Chaos Fan, abandoned the team after the American basketball franchise, the Phoenix Suns, took off. But from these humble beginnings, Dota would continue to rise like a Meepo Smurf in Herald. Part 2 will cover the development of the game. The early versions of Dota 2 were rough and bare-boned. Gabe Newell was losing money rapidly from buying ice to prevent Ice Frog from melting in the sweltering heat of the computer room. Desperate to flesh out the game, he could only afford to hire a team of diseased old coders who programmed the game in binary code. He needed to keep the men supplied with whiskey and bubblegum trading packs, so he could only afford to purchase keyboards with 1 key. Half the coders had the 1s, and the other half, the 0s. Old Man Grant remembers the first alpha build.
These Zoomers these days don't know how good they got it. Back in alpha, in my day, there were only 10 heroes, and all of them had polio. All the lanes were 30 miles long. I played carry, and I'd walk to the safe lane, which took all day. Last hit 1 creep on a good day, then you die of dysentery or something and start the whole freaking cycle over again. And just when you'd saved up enough gold for a penny whistle to boost your strength, the Great Depression would happen, and you'd lose all your money to the bank. There was no such thing as reliable net worth until renowned economist Benjamin Wu Sr. formed the Department of Agriculture. Times were tough, but we were happy. Actually, we're miserable. But my heroes were good, so fuck it.
Though Old Man Grant's heroes would soon get nerfed, and he would lose his livelihood, the game continued to grow. Vaccines for preventable diseases in Dota Heroes were developed, and a small minority of the bugs present in the game were fixed. The next episode will cover the first big tournament in Dota 2. Hoping to launch Dota 2 to the world, IceFrog and Gaben planned to host a tournament, the International -1, at the Paris World Fair. The prize was the largest in gaming history, a single shiny silver dollar, and it drew interest from across the industrialized world. Mr. Newell looked to broadcast the tournament to the world using the latest invention, Twitch.radio. To help him, he enlisted a world-class team of broadcasters. Third-generation Dota caster Gods remembers.
My grandfather met LD's grandfather on a voyage through China, trading tea and opium, but the opium had stopped selling in China because everybody was playing this new thing called Dota. They knew they wanted to get involved, and they were hired to broadcast the International. But LD's grandfather had never seen a microphone, so it was tough going. They worked beside some of the all-time greats, Feudalist, Sir Still Pantaloons, Red Eye, and even Nahaz. It was crazy times and the hype was unreal. 17 Dota fans all crammed into a shack into the 3rd floor of the tenement building. We didn't have much, but we had Dota.
Once TI-1 was over, Na'Vi were the proud owners of a single shiny silver dollar, which they spent immediately on bread and soup. And Dota's first superstar was born. Nearly 100 years and even more predictions of its demise later, Dota is still going strong. Millions of players around the globe competing for millions of shiny silver dollars.